Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Live. If you're joining from the previous session, thank you for staying on. And if you're just now joining, welcome. How is everyone doing? Where are y'all streaming in from? I'm Kara Sykes, and I'm so excited to be hosting this day two with Kimmie. Kimmie, welcome.
Hey,
How are you?
I am great. I'm great. Doing good.
I'm so excited to be here. We've got some people in the chat. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness. We've got Wade. We've got Sean. We've got Andreas. We've got Paco. We've got Lisa. Oh my gosh. So many people in the chat. So excited. We can't wait to see how your illustration transforms. And we've got a great treat for y'all today. We've got the artist spotlight. So we're going to be spotlighting an artist in the Behance community. Stick around and find out how you can be featured in the future, or you can recommend a friend. Check out the spotlight tab if you have any other questions, or ask one of the moderators. They are always here to help in the chat. We have a full day planned for you today, so let's take a look at our schedule. We've got, after us, we've got Claudie doing the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge, and we've got Eliza Todd doing the web design stream, and after that, we've got Howard Pinsky doing the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. Love the daily creative challenges, so make sure that you get involved with those if you want. All right, so without further ado, Kimmie, would you like to recap everyone on what you worked on yesterday and where we are now?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Everyone who's just joining, and hello, everyone who is new. Just for a brief recap, my name is Kimmie J. I am an illustrator and graphic designer. And yesterday we were working on a sticker design using different levels of gradients and opacities. So what I have up here right now for you to see, this is pretty much the entirety of this design. I have the sketch on and off. Let me turn everything off for you so we can kind of run through it real quick. And I'll show you exactly where we started because I saved it. Oh no, I did not. I thought I did. But anyway, I can go back and re-grab it, but I had thought I had the entire illustration down here, but I guess I didn't. But we started with all of the flats. I can go through and just grab all the flats anyway. All of them. Let's find them. Where are they at? All of our flats, there they are. All of our flats right here. And then as we went through, we started adding in some gradients on the top of that. And then we started adding in some shading using different levels of opacities. And the way we locked those shadings in was through clipping mask. So we did all of that. So now we're just going to keep on chugging along. And if you guys want to join in, there is a sketch as well you can download, and you can either join in using the same style, or you can use your own style. Sorry. All right, so real quick, I'm going to go in and grab all of the flats that I did not grab. So basically what a flat is essentially what it says. It is the flat style and color. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab all that. Make a copy because we're going to need that for later. So there we go, and I'm going to paste it down here. I'm surprised it didn't take, but that is okay. And I do have this saved on in the cloud, so it's going to auto save as we work, which is really awesome. I love when it does that. Okay. So where did we leave off? So I finished up the tentacle and I switched the paper plane and the paper boat's color again. I made it white because I was really struggling to kind of help see it with those dark colors. Every color I did just kind of disappeared. So I said, well, let's just make it white. Paper's white. We're gonna make it white. So I worked on the head, I think is where we left off. The head right there. So let's go ahead. We're going to move on to this other tentacle here.
We got a lot of people saying hi and they're excited in the chat. Just wanted to let you know.
Yes. Hey, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions. I was moving really, really fast yesterday because I just want to make sure we get everything done. Oh, it went down the wrong pipe.
And wanted to let everyone know you can rewatch the stream from yesterday anytime you want. But don't do it now because we want you to be here.
Yeah, we want you to be here. And if we don't finish today, that is okay, because I do live stream and I will definitely finish this on one of the live streams if we don't finish. So you can always watch it that way. So we will finish it. Okay, so this one is going to be a little tricky because we have to go above that plane right there. So I'm actually going to recreate this part of the leg on a separate layer, so it comes up over that plane. And I organize all of my layers. I color code because we are not able to group in Illustrator. So color coding and labeling is your best friend. This is the Octopus. This is the right leg. I'm just gonna put tip. And it's a solid.
Afrosia says origami boat is cute.
Thank you. And good evening, Afrosia. It is good to see you, or virtually see your name. All right, there we go.
Oh, nice. Deneen is tuning in again and tuning in from work at the print shop today, hoping I can finish my sticker tonight and run a test print tomorrow.
Oh yeah, if you're doing that in print, I'm curious to see how you'll print those opacities if you're doing opacities, because I could never get to print like that, because I did solid colors, spot color printing when I was working at a print shop, so we never did any gradients or anything like that. So I would love to see your final print, see how that comes out. All right, so I want to do a little knockout on here. So I have 2 of these running. I'll go in and do a little knockout.
And while you're working, I just wanted to catch everyone up. If you are just now joining, Kimmie is working on a sticker design that she started on yesterday and got really, really far. I was super impressed and I just love watching her work. So if you want to join in, she has a download that's available in the information here on Behance. Also, I forgot to mention, if you are watching from YouTube, come join us over here on Behance, be.net/live, and you can join in the conversation, and we'd love to answer your questions and just see where you're coming in from.
Yes, come join us, one of us. All right, so now I'm gonna put in that gradient. Use my mouse. For some reason, it just doesn't want to work. There we go. And I'm using this greenish jade color because whenever I switch it over to a different opacity setting, it is going to change it to like a bluish color, so it works out perfectly.
Robert says, great work on Instagram, Kimmie. I'm following you now.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to. Oh,
sorry.
That's okay. I'm trying to keep updating with the current illustration I'm working on. It is super detailed, so I'm just like slowly throwing some stuff up there. I'm bad at keeping up with social media, so I'm trying.
It's hard. It's hard to keep up with social media.
It is. It really is. But dog photos will make it up there more often than not.
So true. So
yeah.
true.
better not talk about them. They'll come in here. I just didn't know what I'm talking about them.
Oh, Paul Tranny says, Kimmie, I'm loving this. And he really likes the way you use the navigation panel.
Thank you. Yep, I like to leave the navigation panel up so you can see what I'm doing, because I zoom in and that doesn't really help you, the viewer, to see exactly what I'm doing. It's kind of small right now. I can actually make it bigger. Oh, getting all fussy with me. There we go. Let me see a little bit better.
You know, I've never used that before. I think I will definitely use it now. I love that.
It is helpful when you're streaming and your viewers need to kind of see what you're doing, because I'm zoomed in, so you don't really know what exactly I'm working on. You can kind of guess just to see in the entirety. And then it also helps you to have an idea of how everything's looking at a zoomed out perspective. Because especially as an illustrator, I have a very bad habit of just kind of staying zoomed in all the time. So you really need it. It's our way of just stepping back from your work and getting a better look at it.
Okay. Oh, hey, Cody. Cody is sharing your art download in the chat. Thank you so much, Cody.
Thank you. Yeah, I did get to see one person was working on it and she did such a good job.
That's awesome.
She was doing really, really good. So.
Yeah, if y'all end up working on using the sketch that Kimmie provided, definitely tag her. I think you have your handle, your Instagram handle at the bottom of here. So y'all definitely tag her, because we'd love to see what you're creating with the sketch. Oh, we got Gus Martin. We got lots of people joining. Alex Designs. Oh my goodness. So good to see all these people.
So what I like to do is I'll have a solid on the bottom, then I'll do my gradient on one layer, and then I'll do the shade on another layer. So this isn't one of my super detailed illustrations, but when I do a super detailed illustration, if I need to do a reflection or anything like that, I usually slip that in between the solid layer and the gradient layer. And that way I can kind of create those reflections, which I think I posted that on Instagram. So you can kind of check that out, how that's done. All right, so I'm using the freeform gradient tool, which I actually discovered that tool watching Paul Tranny one morning. He was showing that tool off. I'm like, I really like that tool. I need to use that tool.
Yes, Adobe Live coming through.
Oh no, yeah. I watch his in the morning when he does the little Illustrator tips and tricks, or the Illustrator challenges and things like that, because you don't know everything. There's always new things coming out, always, always, always. So it's good to stay on your toes. All right, let's go over here. Trying to make sure I have all of my little things. There we go. Transparency. I think I was using light and oh, you know what? I did it on the wrong thing. That's why it looks like that. Him up one. So,
Kimmie, can you share a little bit about how you use blending modes in Illustrator for your work?
I use blending modes just to kind of help give it a little bit more depth. And sorry, that's my computer going nuts. It's like, stop it. Just kind of help it give it more depth, just same way I use the gradients. And so I can continue to use a minimal color palette. And I get that from screen printing. When you screen print, you can only use so many colors for screen printing. So I enjoy using a minimal color palette. And then I don't want to have to go beyond my color palette trying to add more for shadows and lights and things like that. So I just take advantage of the blending mode to kind of help create those shadows in those light spots without having to expand on my color palette.
Love that. Dorina says, I love how you use the freeform gradient. And that's been really cool to watch yesterday and today, how you use it.
Yep, I use the freeform gradient just to kind of help with that dimension, add in some more lights and shadows, and then I'll go in and I'll build off of that some more. Lighten. Okay, so let's lock those layers. Let's add another one. I'm gonna have to make this a little bit smaller just so I have a little bit more room. Okay, that's the plane. All right. So now I'll just use that same purple we've been using, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start adding in those shadows. And I use multiply for my shadows. I use light. Normally I'll use light for my highlights or screen mode for my highlights. Screen mode is also really good if you want to add reflections or anything like that. Screen mode is really good. You kind of just have to play around with them to find what you're looking for. And I am using CMYK mode as well. So that does make a big difference for what results you're going to get, because if I switch this into RGB, all the colors would be like a lot brighter. So if my intention was for this to live on the web, I would do it in RGB and we'd have a lot more vibrancy in these colors. But since I plan on having them printed through Sticker Mule, I'm going to use CMYK. So that's probably why the colors are a little bit dull.
We've got a few questions in the chat. And I don't know if you were going to go over global colors again, but Helena is asking, can you show how to set your global color styles again?
Yeah, I sure can. So I went ahead and we have our color palette in here, but if I wanted to add a couple more colors, which I ended up adding a few more colors, just put some colors down here. And I'll even show you how to separate them into a folder, which if you want to, let's do it. Let's do this. Let me go grab.
I love this. Paul Traney says, Kimmie, are you really this organized when it comes to layers?
I am. I can show you a bigger file I'm working on. I am very organized. So I'm going to take this theme here. So I really like these colors. I'm going to do this the hard way instead of the super simple way. So let me come in here. I am very organized. Okay, why isn't it letting me grab that? Huh. Okay. We'll go the other way. Just add it to swatches. So they are now in my swatches, but they're not global. So I want to make these global. So I'm just going to start. This new palette. There's my new one. I'm just going to click on that color. I'm going to come up here, and you could actually do it down here if you wanted to. Just click down here. So it's a CMYK color. Make sure global is selected, and you can actually name it too if you want to. So just call it Earth. Click OK, and now it's going to have a little triangle in that bottom corner. That means it's now a global color. So you can actually just move it down there to that new folder, and I can do this for all of them. Let's call it light, name it whatever you want. Creating this folder, and I will do this pink. I need to create it, but.
And so Kimmie's used global colors throughout her whole illustration so that if she gets to a point where she wants to change the colors, she can really easily change them, which is definitely a huge benefit of using global colors throughout your artwork.
So now let's say I have this yellow, and I have this yellow like pretty much all over my illustration. And then I have like an orange just kind of plopped right on top of that. Okay, cool. Well, I don't want yellow anymore. I want it to be something else. I want it to be a little bit lighter. I want it to have a little bit more magenta in it, a little bit more cyan. Too much cyan. Don't like that. Okay, this works. Okay, love it. Click on it. Bam. I'll change. So instead of having to go through and change every single color, I just edited that global color. Pretty easy. And if you have the CMYK like number code, you can just go in and put the code in on the side right here, and that'll do it too. And you can preview it if you want to preview it instead of before you hit OK and like mess up your entire color palette, which sometimes I do. I mean, let's say this is what we do. Okay, so now let's say I love this palette. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's amazing. I want to add it to my library. So I'm just going to save the swatch. So I'm going to come over here, and your personal folder will come up, and you'll just hit save, and it'll just save it in there. Mine came up. You don't need to see how all my other stuff is organized. And you just go to user define, and it says Adobe Live file. Click on it. There it is. So it is saved on this computer. It is not saved in your libraries. It is only saved on this computer. So whenever you log onto this computer, this is where you're going to find that palette. If you want to save it into your libraries, let me see if I can figure that out. There is a way to do it, but I have not done that yet. I'll get back to you on that.
I would help you out, but I haven't either.
Yeah, there is a way. I've done it before, but I haven't done it in so long, because for me, just saving it like that is just the easiest way. But let me see. How do I get these over here?
Helena says, thank you so much. Super helpful.
Yeah, no problem. That's how I do it. And then on my here's another example of using your libraries, just because y'all got me on a tangent now. So I used to work in screen printing. So right here, it's labeled Gildan color card. This is all of the Gildan t-shirt colors I have saved in my library. So when I was designing, I could go through and just click through them all. So that's just how useful that color library is versus saving everything natively on your computer. I can go through and get all these colors quicker that way versus just saving it on that one computer, that native computer.
So that's awesome.
Quick example. Little tangent I went off on. Sorry about that.
Hey, you gave a lot of awesome advice, and I feel like I'm going to use global colors more now.
Oh, wait, I remember how to get it into your library. Add to library.
Oh.
So you're going to click add to library, and then you're going to pick which file you want it under, or if you want to create a new file. I remember I did that because I made that entire Gildan thing.
That's amazing.
So I'm like, I have 100 swatches in here. I know how to do this. All right. So I'm going to get rid of that because I like my palette to be clean with only what I'm using. Otherwise, I'll stray from my intentions. All right, let's get back over here. Where are we? So I like to turn the sketch off and on just to kind of get a good idea of where I am at. Play around with this a little bit. Let's go back here. Try and get the best contrast I can. This is kind of poking over. That's okay. I'm gonna probably grab that and bring it all to the front in a second. That's some good contrast. What do you think?
We've got some fun things going on in the chat. Paul says, what are the check boxes on the cup? It should say like mackerel mocha, caramel carp. And then Then 8 times legs.
Yeah, no, I just kind of threw some on there because I was like, I can't think of anything. It's going to be chat's responsibility to come up with something. Because I was like, I just can't think of anything. So yes, if y'all have ideas, maybe you can write them down, Kara, and we'll add them. If we have time, we can add them all in there. So it's like, I need some cute punny stuff, but my brain was fried. I've been working on so much other stuff all day. It's like, I can't come up with nothing. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of move these around. And these little dots right here in the corner, these are widgets. The way they move, those are widgets. This is what they're called, just in case anyone ever wonders. I lost my widgets one time and it really messed up my work process. I never knew how much I actually relied on those. Oh, I'm loving it, like McDonald's. Let's get rid of, let's hide these under there. Let's turn this back one.
Anthony Jackson says, yay, Creative Cloud libraries. And
Yes.
Helena says they're going to use global colors. So the inspiration never stops.
Yes, Creative Cloud is so awesome. And it really sped up my work process when I was in screen printing. It just made it so much easier. And I'm pretty sure I left all of that set up for them when I left. It's like, all right, y'all are good to go. Don't mess this stuff up. So I'm not coming back to fix it. But yeah, that Creative Cloud, it'll make your process so much quicker, so much smoother. You don't have to worry about really losing anything. It auto saves. I was working on a really big illustration before I jumped on here today, and I accidentally hit exit without saving and about had a heart attack. But it saved. So I was able to breathe a little bit easier because I was gonna cry.
Oh gosh, I know that feeling. I know that feeling all too well.
But I've also learned always save multiple copies. Don't just rely on autosave. Don't rely on that one copy, because sometimes Illustrator's a little sleepy and it just can't keep up with your awesomeness. And those files sometimes become corrupt, because it works hard. It's a hard-working machine. And I actually had a file completely collapse in on itself. All the layers just went into one layer. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm done with this. Won't be working on that anymore. It was very upsetting.
Oh,
so
no.
I learn every day. I come in and I start working on it, and I make so much progress. I resave it and I just put that date on it, just in case something happens. You have at least that day's worth of progression saved. And by putting the date on it, you'll know kind of where you were. Because I've actually sent to print really old stuff or old drafts because they weren't dated. And the file name was the same, plus like maybe the number 1.
No.
Or the letter A, you just put something like random.
Final .jpg.
Yeah. So being organized can really go a long way for you, especially as a designer. Let's actually make that 20.
Cody's giving some great advice in the chat. She says, PSA, drink water, stretch your wrists, and save your work. And we are all about saving that work here.
Carpal tunnel is not a joke. My arms go numb on a regular basis. Nothing like sleeping and then waking up, and then from the shoulder down to the tips of your fingers, you have no feeling. I whacked myself in the face one time. It's like, oh, I have a hand there. Okay,
Oh, no.
Hello. Hello, hand. All right. Let's see. I'm excited. I can't wait to like print these. I did order ink from my printer, so I might home print some of these and cut them on my Cricut just to kind of see if I can get it calibrated. But I definitely want to get these for reals printed.
In about an hour, we'll be doing an artist spotlight. Thank you, Cody, for sharing that. If you'd like to nominate yourself or someone for future artist spotlight, feel free to fill out the form in the tab above the chat. It's always exciting to see everyone's work on Behance. There's just, gosh, I could spend hours just looking at people's work and
there's some amazing work on here. When I was in college, they always told us, if you want to see how to set up a portfolio or anything like that, go to Behance. They would always direct us that way.
Paul says, carp all tunnel. All the fish puns today are so good. We're swimming in them.
Positively drowning in them. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and clip these in a clipping mask. I'm gonna do this one first just because it's 3 and I can grab them real quick. So I'm gonna group them together. I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna grab that solid layer, pop back up there, I'm gonna paste it, grab that group, and turn it into a clipping mask, and it's just gonna clip everything out for me. Beautiful. All right, so now I'm going to turn all of that off. Move that over. What's this one? Should be able to just grab everything. Whoop, nope, don't do that. Group all of that together. Grab that solid layer and copy. Pop back up there, paste in place. Grab all that and mask it. Bam! All right, now we still need to put the pink on that tentacle up there, and I'm seeing something up here I don't really like, so I'm gonna fix that in a little bit. So I'm gonna come back down here to the solid layer, and we gotta get that pink on there. I think it don't matter, it still goes into a gradient, so just pick a color.
Eric Sue says, my Behance portfolio changes my life. Heart emoji.
It's life-changing. I am so lazy when it comes to portfolio presentation. We had to make so many of them in school. I just throw stuff up now. I can't. We're just always making them. I felt like that was my entire college career. All right, we're gonna make another portfolio. Why? It's so expensive to get printed. It's like $100 every semester.
I have a question for you. Do you get a lot of your freelance work through, where do you get that? Is that word of mouth? Is it through?
It's usually word of mouth, yeah. Usually, hey, I used this girl before, she's aight.
That's awesome.
Maybe you should use her too. We're such a small community down here. We're not a very booming illustrative design community, and the actual design firms and businesses, they're very expensive. So the freelancers can usually benefit to an extent, but even the freelancers can be a little expensive.
It really is pretty different everywhere.
Yeah.
Eric says, yeah, spent thousands of dollars on portfolio in college.
Just to not even use them when you're done. I guarantee you that stuff hit the trash.
Yeah, I recently recycled some of my old college work after taking photos of it, of course.
All right. I'm actually going to move that up. So I want to keep it under the plane. These, I didn't do anything special with the tentacles. I just kind of gave a simpler gradient on those.
How often do you end up changing your colors at the end when you're working on an illustration?
What do you mean?
Like, do you ever finish and then test out a few colors since you have global colors, or do you usually feel pretty good about the colors in the end? I'm one of those people who's very much indecisive sometimes, so I always wonder if people feel very stuck with like what they have because they love it, or if they try out a few different things.
I'll sometimes try it out, but I usually try to get it where I want it before I get too deep into it, because changing these colors, editing can kind of be cumbersome when you're too far down that rabbit hole with the colors and stuff. It can get to be a lot. So I try to get everything where it needs to be before I get too far ahead of myself. So color palette is usually one of the first things I try to have selected and down. I don't see any of that pink in there, light pink. Oh, because there's a black underneath it. It's quite a few. Get out of there. So I take a lot of time to actually pick my palette before I even get started, to kind of make sure it works. And then I'll add colors and subtract colors as I go. So I try to work with a minimum palette, but sometimes that palette will end up growing more so. But I try not to get too far off the path with it. All right, I think what happened, yeah, I did it again.
I just want to say hello to anyone in the chat that's just now joined in. We are here with Kimmie, and she's working on vector art, creating this vector art, and it will be a sticker design. I just love all the details you're putting into it. I work very simple, and it's so cool to see someone's process that's so different from what I do. And Kimmie's teaching us things left and right, and yeah, we're just so excited y'all are here tuning in.
I've always been an overly detailed person. And I was always afraid, especially in college, to like pursue those details. So I would create overly complicated illustrations, but I would never pursue them. I would always end up having to like draw them back for whatever reason. So now that I have a computer with a lot more processing power, and I have the time to actually pursue them, I'm I'm not as afraid anymore to kind of like, I guess, get down and dirty with the digital illustrations, I guess. All right, so now I'm going with the pink.
Cody Bear says that Kimmie inspired me yesterday to open Illustrator for the first time and start learning the pen tool to make sticker cut lines. I remember Cody Bear telling me that she hasn't used Illustrator in so long, so that's super exciting.
Yeah, I love Illustrator. It's so much fun.
Josh says, I never realized how in-depth a tentacle could be. Great process to watch.
And this isn't, I can go more in depth. I'm trying not to go too in depth as I normally would, because then we would need a couple more sessions. The 2-hour session wouldn't be enough. Whoops. I'm trying to get used to this PC. Too many points makes it difficult to edit. So I'm just editing it as more of a whole than individuals. Turn that off.
Barry says that they use the pen tool a lot until today. They've never tried the pencil tool before, but maybe they should try that.
Yeah, if you find the pen tool is something that's a little too difficult, the pencil tool pretty much yields the exact same results. It just gives you a little bit more wiggle room, and you can modify how many points it lays. You can simplify it all. It's just user preference. I personally feel that the pen tool for me is easier, and I have a little bit more control over it. Now I will use the pencil tool depending on what I'm doing and what results I'm looking for. If I'm looking for more of an organic hand-drawn look, then I will definitely go with the pencil tool.
Hello, Tino. Welcome to the stream.
Welcome. Welcome. All right, I don't want to go too into detail because I won't stop if I go too into detail. It never stops. Okay, so let me grab these, let me group them. Place. Go. Oh, no, it looks like some of them disappeared.
Do you ever use the shape builder tool, or do you feel like that is harder? Because I feel like you are editing a lot within your clipping mask, so that process seems to work really well for you.
Yeah, I do. It just depends what my end goal is on what tool I'm going to use. The shape builder tool, I feel, gives me the same results as the Pathfinder tool. But depending, if I need to get a very specific shape that only the shape builder tool will give me, then I'll use the shape builder tool. But if I can use the Pathfinder tool to get that same result and it's a bit cleaner, then I'm gonna go in that direction, because I'm always looking for the cleanest way to get that result that won't give me extra points, that won't give me extra lines that I gotta go in and erase, because I don't want no hidden surprises in the end. So I'm just looking for the cleanest result possible. So it just depends. Sometimes I'll even sit there and I'll play around and I'll try both out to see which one will give me the exact look I'm going for, because sometimes I just don't know. I just don't know what I'm gonna get. So I will take the time and try both, and usually I'll end up benefiting from that because I will learn something new that will help me in future projects. And I used to be real big about not wanting to waste time doing that, but now I've learned to just tell myself this is beneficial, take the time, you're gonna learn something new that will either help you in this project or in future projects. So just do it, just do it. So now I'm just cutting, copying, pasting these in here. And I probably won't go in and do as much detail on this tentacle as I have illustrated, because I kind of like the more simplified look than going super, super detailed. But if I change my mind, I can always jump back in and do that. Oh, okay. That's like a gradient in there. Because it is, I want a solid. There we go. Cool.
And I see you're dragging an object and duplicating it.
Yes, I'm just copying, pasting in place and moving it over, and then readjusting it as I need it.
That's a really good time-saving tip for sure.
Yes. Oops. Going crazy. Get back where you go. And another thing you could do is you can also turn it into a brush if you wanted to do that. I had tried that previously and it didn't give me the result I wanted exactly, but it does work. So just depending what you're trying to make, like I said, your end goal, there's tons of different things you can do. So one time I had to make a piece of rope for an anchor for something that I was working on. So I actually just turned that into a brush and just brushed it in instead of sitting there copy pasting. So most of the time there's an easier way to do something than the way that you're doing it. So you just gotta figure it out. There's probably an easier way to do this. But for now, this will work.
Robert mentioned that he uses the curvature tool, curvature pen more than the shape builder tool. So I've never actually really explored the curvature tool.
Never either. I've never used the curvature tool. So I wonder how exactly that works. Does it just make better curves?
I think it gives you guides as you go, so you can see kind of what you're creating.
Oh.
Which might be helpful in some areas.
The pen tool does that, doesn't it? I don't know. I'll have to explore it and see. Because I'm always open to trying new things if it means it's gonna help my work process. Because especially in the graphic design industry, they always want you to be faster and more efficient. It's the speed. Speed is everything for them.
We say we're human. We're superhuman, but we're also human.
They want you to know how to do everything. It's like, okay, I need you to code this website, create all the art, go take the photos. It's just like, wait, what? I don't do half of that. Willing to learn, but it's gonna take some time. Yeah, this is taking a lot of time, so this is obviously something I would want to find a faster route for.
It really shows how much detail goes into pieces, though. Watching someone do it, you know, instead of seeing just the final piece, you see that every single one was added by hand.
Yeah, don't be fooled by those videos you see where the person is working really, really fast, because those are sped up videos. I used to get really down on myself when I would see those videos. I'm like, okay, I'm never going to be that fast, or I'm never going to be that good. It's like, okay, that video is sped up to like a bajillion. And they're probably taking a lot of time. There's probably a lot of pieces cut out of that video. So they probably sit there and do this in a lot of those videos.
We've got a little information on the curvature tool. Paul says it gives curves for those that are unfamiliar with using the Bezier. So it makes curves look a lot smoother, in my opinion, is what Paul says.
Okay. All right, just kind of based on where my light is coming from, go in and add that shadow. Thank you, Paul, for that pro tip of the day.
So right now you're using the Pathfinder tool.
Yeah, I rely on the Pathfinder tool a lot. I use it a lot. And you can use, see these right, the shadows. Yeah, they would hit towards the bottom. Towards the top.
It's amazing what a little bit of shadow does to give some depth.
Yeah, but you always want to pay attention that you're putting it in correctly, because it's amazing what shadow in the wrong direction will do as well. I'm trying to think which way my shadow is supposed to be going based on the other one. It's fine. Totally guessing. So not pre-plan. Normally I will sit there and I will even pre-plan the shadow. This go around.
Steven's asking, do you ever use the pencil tool with various levels of smoothing instead of using the pen tool or working from shapes?
Yes, I do. I do. It's just depending what I'm illustrating and what tool will be the most efficient. So I was on another illustration I'm working on. I had like leaves and plant life. The pencil tool was actually the most efficient tool for that particular illustration. So that's the one I ended up going with. Not sure if this is the right light source for this.
Cody says, yeah, I feel like time lapses have given us an unrealistic expectation of how long it takes for artwork. It's interesting with things like reels and things like that and people showing process. It's really mesmerizing, but it really does kind of make it feel like the work was done in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and it can really play with your head a bit, like, oh man, I want to be that good, but that looks like it's really fast. And it's like, I know it's a time lapse, but still looks like they did it quickly. Like they couldn't have sped it up that much.
I think that's the charm of Adobe Live and watching people work live is seeing everything that goes into it.
Yeah, it's like you're able to see, okay, well, they really took their time to do this. This is what tool they're using. Because even in the time lapse, you can't really tell what tool they're using unless they tell you or put it down at the bottom of the screen.
It also makes art feel a little bit more approachable, I think, in learning that it's accessible, which is really cool.
Yes, accessibility.
Paul has to go, but he's asking, has anyone seen My Octopus Teacher on Netflix? Great documentary.
My sister told me it was sad, so I didn't watch it because I didn't want to cry. I have a thing where if the animal dies, it's automatically a bad movie. It's on the ban list. But I heard it was really, really good.
I think I've cried at almost every documentary I've watched. I'm such a crier.
Oh, if anything happens to the animal, I'm just like, don't let the dog die. Don't let the dog die. I have to cover my eyes, and my husband will go, I'll let you know when you can uncover your eyes.
Oh, no.
And if I uncover too soon, I'm like, you didn't tell me. He's like, I told you not to look. Why didn't you warn me? Or I'll go like make popcorn or something, then come back. Because it will totally ruin a movie for me. I can't, like, I love animals too much. I would own 100 dogs if I could. I keep telling him we have room for another one. Just totally space on the couch for a third dog. Oops. That's right. Add that right back. I'm trying to shift the shadow with the turning of the tentacle.
Oh, an interesting perspective from Wade on, Wade says, I never thought that a time-lapse video was deceptive in that way. I always thought everyone knew it was sped up to make the process shorter and viewable. Time to rethink. Yeah,
so I actually, my former position was working with individuals with disabilities, and you really have to think very simplistic when doing stuff like that, because to them, when they would watch stuff like that, they took it at face value. So when I would try to show them tutorials and things like that, and they would speed it up, that was their perception, is that's what it was. So for them, their perception is their reality. And that sometimes that's the case for individuals without disabilities as well. So just going with the assumption that everyone just doesn't know. Especially those like just starting out and learning. And some of us that do know, like we know it's we know it's sped up, but it can still kind of hit you pretty hard. Because we just have that expectation that we're supposed to be at a certain level at a certain age. Because I know I get asked my age a lot sometimes because someone's obviously trying to compare themselves to me. So they just want to like, oh, well, how old are you? Because I'm going to compare my age to your age and your skill level to my skill level. And if something's not lining up, then I'm not where I need to be. When in reality, you don't need to do that. You're exactly where you need to be.
It is, everyone's journey is so different. And it is really encouraging when you see people getting into something later in life, because it's, against the norm, I guess. Yeah. And so I love stories of people kind of getting into art later, or, it's never too late to start. You can, just start, get into it.
And don't compare yourself to other people because you don't know what they did prior or where they were prior. And I was actually the oldest student in my college class. I was married and I had a house, and I was in class with all these teenagers like 18, 19, and I'm over here 26, 27 in college, and I'm just like, oh man. Like, I'm the oldest one in class. So yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, maybe I obviously messed up somewhere if I'm the oldest one here. Kind of like feel like I'm restarting life. And I was doing art all my life. So you really just can't compare yourself. The way I look at it is you're right where you need to be. Life is long and it's not a race.
Life is not a time lapse.
No, it's not. It's not. Because where you're going to be in 5 years and where that other person's going to be in 5 years are two completely different places. And it's just pointless to compare yourself. It really is. All right. Got that in. Cool deal.
Oh, I love this. Carol Pearl says, it's not too late to keep going. I'm retired and still enjoying this stuff and learning. I love that.
Right? It's never too late. It's not too late to learn anything new. And learning new things is fun. And that to me is a part of life. I'm trying to get in here and get this little tidbit. Let me see if I can find it. Where are you
at? Cody says, in quotes, life is not a time lapse. Kara Sykes, 2021. I never thought I'd be quoted. That's funny.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yes. Oh, amazing. Robert said, I started with art 4 years ago and I'm 65. I love when people get into art. I think, it's therapeutic. When it's your job, you have to remind yourself to enjoy it. I'm very grateful to have art as my job. But I also have to remember to try to just make it for fun.
Yeah. And it's hard to enjoy it when it's your job too, and you're doing it all day and you get home and you're just like, oh, I don't want to, I'm so tired. And everyone, they approach art differently too. What interests me and what interests you are two completely different things. So you can pull inspiration from anywhere. All right, let's get back on this head over here. He needs eyes. Let's go swatches. Let's grab this white color.
Stephen Kohler is asking you, other than Adobe Live, what are your learning resources?
Oh man, I have so many websites saved and stuff. I actually like print magazines. I like to use those as resources. So anything printed, because if someone actually took the time and the money to print it, it's obviously worth looking at. So I get Graphic Design Magazine and USA Magazine in the mail. And then there's a lot of really good websites. If they make a magazine, they have a website. So I'll save the website and look at that as well as a resource. And then there are actually some really good artists that have really good websites as well that I'll follow too. But I like printed materials. I have a couple books back here. Actually, that's half of what I have. Some of them are hidden because it's a little junky looking. But yeah, I like to invest in the magazines because you paid money to print it. It's obviously worth something. And then I'll go online. I'll go to Amazon and I'll purchase the books that are kind of outdated, the graphic design books that are outdated, because you can get them cheaper. The end dated ones are very expensive, and a homie ain't made of money. But I'll buy those and just kind of peruse, because I like to keep references in stock, just to kind of have on hand. because I find a lot of stuff, it's just so saturated. Like Pinterest is good, but it's saturated with trends, and trends go out of style. And sometimes you want the classics. So if someone's hiring me for something, I don't want to provide them with trendy work that they're going to need to have reworked later on. I want to supply them with something that will be classic, that they'll be able to use long term. I hope that answered your question.
We've got about 24 minutes before the artist spotlight. Super excited. That's coming up. And I just wanted to say, I love finding inspiration off of the computer as well. Just going to, before the pandemic, I would go to, when we lived in Houston, there's a lot of free museums there. So we'd go to museums, and then going to thrift stores and looking at old things was always super inspiring. And now I'm trying to seek out a few things that don't really involve going out too much. So it's a really interesting challenge to kind of seek out inspiration off of the computer.
The classic art time periods, I really love Art Deco, Art Nouveau. So that can really inspire you as well. Because look at some of the classic time periods. Architecture can really lead you down an amazing path, especially as a graphic designer. I don't know if there are any graphic designers out there, but that can lead you to some pretty amazing work possibilities and projects. Because I've seen some beautiful architecture, and if you just kind of carry that over into your work, you can make some really awesome stuff. Okay, so I'm just adding some shadow to these eyes here.
And hearing you talk about that kind of reminds me of the idea of looking at things that maybe aren't in your field, so that you can kind of keep yourself from comparing, taking a step. Like, I am a graphic designer, illustrator, and what if I look at fashion, for inspiration, like you were saying, architecture, those are things I don't do. So I can find a sense of inspiration from it without feeling like I have to compare myself to the work of those artists.
Yeah, look outside of your realm. My biggest thing is looking beyond what's actually there to find inspiration. So it's like looking at the clouds. Don't see clouds, see beyond what's in the clouds, and you're going to find something to inspire you, but you have to look beyond what's already there to pull inspiration. So that's the only way it's going to work.
Julio says, Art Deco is the best.
Yes, I love Art Deco. It's almost there.
Rick Adams says that these Behance live streams make it really easy to watch and learn. The only limit is time. Wade is mentioning that architecture is a great resource, especially for specific time periods.
Yeah, I think architecture in the 20s and 30s was really interesting. That's a really interesting time period to look at. And even in the 50s was really good. And then look at how like murals were incorporated back then too. That was interesting. Just kind of look at how things relate to each other, how they play with each other, how they coexist with each other. And then you can really find inspiration through that. Sometimes it's not always what's right in front of you. It could be what's on the side.
I sometimes wonder what I would love to see the artists we learn about in history books from way back in the day. I would love to see how they use products and programs that we use today. It'd be so interesting to watch them on Adobe Live.
That would be really cool.
If you could pick one artist, past or present, to watch on Adobe Live, that I guess would be in a, well, maybe past history book, who would you pick? Is there anyone you would want to watch?
Top of my head, oh goodness. Maybe Monet. I liked how he painted. As neat as I am, I love like abstract clustery type stuff. Van Gogh, I like his work as well. It's interesting. But I have such a fan. I'm just such a fan of like pretty much all art. There hasn't really been anything I didn't like. All right, got some little eyeballs in there. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the whip down here. But speaking of art, what's it called? Netflix just came out with a really good documentary called Made You Look, and it's about art forgeries. This woman had sold over $80 million worth of forgeries back in, I think it was like the 80s. And it was just now coming out that they were forged.
Oh my goodness.
It was really good. It was really good documentary. It was really good.
I will have to watch that.
But I am a really big fan of Waterhouse. I don't know if anyone's familiar with his work, but I was always a huge fan of him. He painted very fantasy-driven scenes, very detailed, like nothing I could possibly do. I like overly detailed and complicated things, but his stuff was always in the realm of fantasy. I love his work. That's probably who I really want to see.
Anthony Jackson says, I would love to see Bob Ross on Adobe Live. That would be so soothing.
Everyone would tune in. I saw on Sunday morning, they opened up a museum. They finally cataloged all of his works, and it's now in a museum for everyone to come see and enjoy. I was like, look at that. Well, Bob Ross Museum with happy little trees.
Carol says, that would be one happy little stream. That's so good. Oh.
I'm not seeing any of the, oh, okay, that's why. Some of these are still set to normal. Nope. I'm not seeing any of that.
Wade says that he would like to see, I don't know if I'm saying this name right, Muka, Rodin, Rockwell, Chang, Frazetta, and several more would be on there, top list.
Yeah, I love Muka. I actually found a book for $15 of all of his work at Big Lots, not Big Lots, Barnes and Nobles, and I about lost it when I saw that. I thought I hit the jackpot. Like, how is this $15? What's wrong with it? It's probably got misspelling. It's probably got misspelled words in it, and you know what? I wouldn't even know. Wouldn't even know. Okay, I don't know why I cannot see the difference in that, but I'm just gonna move on. I want to get as close to finish as possible, but if we don't, that's okay.
Oh, we got a Picasso. Someone would like to see Picasso. I would love to see Georgia O'Keeffe. You know, it's interesting. Someone was mentioning that earlier in the stream, and I didn't get to say it, that your layers kind of look like watercolor. And it does kind of give a little bit of a watercolor layer vibe.
Yeah, a little bit. They're very hard versus that overly blend. They're a little bit more a harder blend. But yeah, it's kind of like water, which is terribly ironic because I am awful at watercolors. Like I could never stand them. And they tried to get us to do gouache in college, and I was just like, nah, nope, not doing it. Not doing it. They're like, well, gouache is just, I'm like, I don't care what gouache is, I'm not doing it. Because I couldn't learn how to control the paint. I'm like, this is beyond my control. I don't know what to tell you. This all actually needs to go to the back.
Oh, Anthony Jackson says that they would love to see Angela's song Mueller. She was a character designer for Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra.
Oh, that's interesting.
Josh J is asking, what is your favorite class in art school?
My favorite class, sculpting. I actually like the clay class, the pottery class, which my aunt has a kennel and a wheel saved for me at her house. I just got to get it over here. Josh J. But yeah, no, I really liked sculpting. I wasn't good at it, but I enjoyed it because there's something about just like scooping and scraping at that clay. And it was very hands-on, and it was a complete 180 from what I was there to learn and do. So I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. I think that's why I liked it.
I'm gonna give a little plug for AI on Illustrator on the iPad. I do feel like it has kind of that feeling when I'm working on the iPad versus the desktop. It's got kind of that, like, you're creating with your hands. So it kind of gives you that feeling when you're working that way. I would love to see like your flow on there as well.
I have a feeling I would just be very frustrated trying to get everything, because I jump on there a couple times to try, and I can't everything's just like moving and all over the place. I'm like, stop it. But I'm sure if I sat down and actually did a couple tutorials, I would figure it out, and I could probably master it with practice. I'm sure I could figure it out. It's just my hesitation. I think I'm afraid of it. I think that's what it is. I think I'm just scared of Illustrator on the iPad. And I need to get over it. I need to not be so scared. Does anyone else like have a fear of a tool or a program that's just kind of keeping them from working on it? Or am I just that weird person? Not just be me.
I have well, I'll fill in while people are answering in the chat. For me, I definitely have a fear of like 3D. I want to do 3D, but there's something about it that intimidates me a lot.
Yeah, something about just like jumping on and then just seeing everything, and you're just like, oh yeah, no.
Oh, we have someone saying After Effects. Steven says After Effects.
After Effects, yeah.
Samantha Brown says 3D and Illustrator. Oh, I've never tried 3D and Illustrator. Huh. Carol says play with dimension. I know. I need to play with dimension a little. Dorina says, I was afraid of After Effects for many years since I was at university.
Dimension looks so cool. There's just like a couple more things I want them to add to it to just kind of round it off for us. So we don't have to really learn the full 3D thing. We can kind of just get away with knowing just that.
I think the thing I love about it, but I haven't tried, is the mock-ups and things like that. I love seeing 2D art on a 3D mock-up.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Cody says, I'm afraid of Illustrator.
I used to be really scared of Illustrator too, but then I just realized it's so just mathematical and systematic. It's very pattern based. So anything like that, I can usually pick up on pretty quick. And I think that's why I'm very drawn to it. And why I just love it so much.
Oh, awesome. Anne said that, hello, everyone. Thanks, Kimmie, for all you share. I managed to clip my layers. Have a good rest of the day. Greetings from Switzerland.
Yay. Yeah, the clipping mask is an amazing tool that goes a really long way. It can do a lot for you. And I know a lot of people who use Photoshop use the clipping mask and can do some pretty awesome stuff as well.
Well, Clever saying, if you are afraid of Illustrator, just try the blob tool. You'll have some fun and maybe learn quicker than through other tools. And the blob brush is definitely a fun one to play with.
Yeah.
I actually use the blob brush pretty often.
Yeah, when they taught us the blob brush in college, I was like, seriously? You were never going to tell us this amazing brush was here? We're over here struggling with the pen tool and we could just be using this? Yeah, just depending on what you're trying to do, there's all kinds of amazing tools that do similar things, but will provide a different execution.
Oh, Fairy says, I use the clipping mask a lot in Photoshop, but can't locate a clipping mask in Illustrator.
Can't locate it? Oh, super easy. So clipping mask and Illustrator, there's actually two. There's two ways to find it. There's one right here, there's make mask here, which is used a little bit differently. And then the clipping mask I'm using is under object, clipping mask, and then you'll hit make. It's right there. And that's actually what I've been using the entire time to make this bad boy.
Alex Design says, years of struggle without the blob tool at Kimmie.
Oh, yeah. All right, so when your point overlaps kind of funkily with another point, really funky, it won't really close your anchor point. So you kind of have to move it and then try to reclose it. So you want to look for that little circle that's going to tell you that it'll close. So sometimes you'll put it down, you'll think it closed, when in fact it didn't, and it's going to leave it open. open shape. You just have to watch that. Sometimes you'll have to move it over to the side, close it, then move it back to where you need it. When your drawing gets to be a lot.
Rick says, more than one way to do things. The best way is the one you remember.
Yeah. And that, for me, that's usually the hardest way.
Oh, Alex says that Command 7 is also a quick command for clipping masks on MacBooks.
It is. I'm not working on a Mac. I think it is a command on here too. I'm just not using it because I like to do things the hard way.
I've never heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. I was using it the other day and then I kind of like forgot. All right, so there is that.
Clever says, so if this was a scratch and sniff sticker, and then ... I
can't promise what it would smell like. So now we can do our little boat. Let's add another one.
We've got about 2.5 minutes before the artist spotlight. So excited to take a look at an artist from the community's work. Be inspired.
So for this, I think I'm going to use some, oops. I'm going to make some texture for this. So what I'm going to do is draw a line here. Draw a line over here. Go to object. I'm going to hit blend. It only gave me one. That's okay. I would have had to edit it anyway. We'll blend options, steps. Let's see what it looks like with 12. Yeah, that looks cool. All right, good deal. And now I'll have to make a separate clip for that. Here, hit right. And that's just to add a little something different to it. Make that clear so it doesn't leave a border. Select all of it, and I'm going to put that into a clipping mask as well. So what that did was give us a little texture on that boat, just to kind of break some of that up. Now, if I wanted these lines to say be a little bit thinner, I can just go into this clipping mask. Click on one line and bring it down. Make it to 0.5. Click on that other line and bring it down. 0.5. There. Looking good. And I'm going to leave that, I think, that regular solid. Oh no, it should be good. Let me see. And I have another color. Oh yeah, I can just leave it solid because nothing really overlaps it. Just leave it normal.
All right, it's time for the artist spotlight. I'm very excited about this. Yes. All right. So today we are spotlighting Alex Designs, which I'm pretty sure I saw Alex in the chat. So hello, Alex. Kimmie, are there any of these that you want to check out first?
I want to check out Barista Boys.
Barista Boys. Let's click on this. Ooh. Ooh. Coffee.
Yes. Let's keep with the theme.
I love that. All right, so we've got Barista Boys looking like we've got this coffee shop. Super fun. I am digging that wallpaper there.
Look at the detail on those doors. Oh my goodness. That's so good.
Oh, wow. I'm wondering if this was made in Illustrator. Oh, yeah, yes, it was right there.
Oh, that is so good. I think even those little posters in the back, they look like those are individual illustrations.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Alex. Wow.
She has coffee cups back there. And I think, oh, look, she's got paper towels up in the upper left-hand corner. It looks like there's some more stuff up there too.
Oh, I love that.
Wow, that is so much stuff in there. I love illustrations like that, that there's just so much stuff to look at. I love when people go into that much detail and do that much work. That is so awesome.
This makes me want to go to a coffee shop. I miss it so much.
I know. I miss coffee shops. Oh, man. That looks so good.
That's perfect for now there. You can get takeout. And yeah, Alex, I love the fact that you took the time to make posters for the back of that. That's so cool. Oh, Moxie. We got Moxie coffee and espresso. Sounds like I need some coffee.
I always come prepared. I've always got coffee. I like the logo for that. I wonder, is that the same font or are those two different fonts? They look really good together though. I like those.
I can't tell. Oh, you know what I love? It's kind of got the Art Deco vibe that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. See, that's a good way to be just inspired by a time period. That looks so good. I can't wait to see that when it's colored.
All right. And I forgot to mention, go ahead and follow Alex here on Behance. Gotta check out Alex's work further. Let's see. I really want to check out Dirty because I am a sucker for play on words. So I feel like this has to do with that. Let's see. A tea company that combines both the words dirt and tea to have a play on words. This branding combines the perspective of applying puns, bright colors, and nature to create a product that interests the buyer.
Summer's Bloom. Oh, that's a very good illustration. And I like the logo.
Oh, I was wondering where, Alex, did you create this or was this a mock-up template? I love it. It's so cool to see things like in what they would be in instead of just flat designs.
Yeah.
Summer's Bloom.
If you can put it in a mock-up just to give the audience an idea of what you've created, that goes 10 times further than just kind of throwing it up there, which I sometimes do, so don't do that. Autumn Nights.
Chai tea with honey, vanilla, and cinnamon. Ooh.
That looks good. And I like how she changed the logo, the color up to match what the tea was.
Oh, that's so nice because it's a way to carry the brand across and give it a different like feeling for the flavor.
Yeah, it makes it more personable too to that specific tea. It gives it more character. I really like that.
Oh yes. Oh, so cool, the texture.
I love that green. I love that green. I'd love to see that on a t-shirt too, just real big like that. And I love the uniqueness of the font. It looks so good.
That would be such a cool patch too. Like I could see, well, I guess this isn't a tea house because I'm thinking about the coffee shops, but this could be a really cool tea house. And I can already kind of imagine, oh, well, wait, maybe it is a tea house. Oh, look at that. We've got tea and pastry cafe. There you go. I love seeing it.
That looks really good. Now I want some matcha.
Yeah. Oh, Alex says, yeah, it is a mock-up. So cool.
Yep. Get you some good mock-ups. Shell out a couple bucks. Get you a good mock-up.
Yes. Let's see. Let's check out Dada. That's referencing art. We were talking about being inspired by art today from different periods. We've got this ACM SIGGRAPH. I'm guessing that is, I actually don't know what that is.
Oh, this is for a club.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's probably the sponsor. Okay, these are club posters.
Look at the type. That's so cool.
Oh, I love when people take type to the next level. Just edit it a little bit, make it your own, because there's so much you can do with a typeface. Just take it in and then do a little bit more with it.
Oh, this makes me miss art school because like curious about the animation jam, this is your chance to ask questions and learn about the event.
All right, gets you excited.
Ooh, another play on the type. That's cool.
And it looks like there's a theme, so you kind of keep in with the theme, but you're still changing it up a bit. I like those popsicles too.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that one. That was a cool on a t-shirt.
Yeah, that would be a really cool shirt.
The way that tiger is broken up in there. I like that.
Cody says, I want some dirty merch.
Right. That would be some really awesome merch. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, Alex, we would love to see some dirty merch. Dirty. We got the Wright brothers. You want to check out the Wright brothers?
Yeah, let's look at that. That's so cute.
So I'm from North Carolina, and we know a lot about the Wright brothers, but I also know that they're connected to Ohio too. I love the character of the little mustache and the hat.
I like that she incorporated a chin in that one.
Yeah.
He didn't have any facial hair, so we gave him a chin. That looks good. As branding.
Okay, now, so the Wright
that
brothers.
Is so cute. So if you don't know what to do for a branding project, taking a person from history and making a brand that's uniquely theirs is such a good idea. Such a good idea. Just making something that's uniquely them that says this is who they are.
Yes.
That's really good. Taking you to greater heights. That's so cute.
Okay, that's so good.
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks like little wings. It's like a hint of wings on there, but you're not real sure. But I like that. That's really clever. And that's always a good project too.
I like the browns in this color that you're using. It's a really lovely brown. I always think I'm gonna click on the wrong thing here. Well, we have time to take a quick look at this last poster here. The Three Amigos. Oh my gosh, that movie takes me back.
The 80s. And that's another good project, just making a very stylized vector illustration for a movie. That's another good one.
Yeah.
Look at the details on those pistol handles.
I don't know if I can zoom in, but
that is really detailed. That's really good.
Awesome. Well, if y'all are interested in ever being the artist that's spotlight, make sure you click on the tab in the chat and check that out. And you can also recommend your friends and peers here on Behance, and make sure to follow Alex Designs. Yeah, thank you so much. This has been really awesome to see. I'd love to get back to Kimmie's screen, see where you're at and keep on going.
All right. Okay, let's finish up this sailboat. my doggo decided to join us, so hopefully he doesn't become too fussy. It's like, hey mom, what you doing? You've been ignoring me for like the past hour. Okay. Let's go ahead and we're gonna make some more of these. I'll probably just cut and paste them, but I'm gonna make them fresh for you guys.
We've got some people in the chat commenting on the Three Amigos. It's been so long since I've seen it, so I don't know the inside the quotes and the inside jokes from it.
Who was that in the Three Amigos? I don't even remember who was in it. It's been so long.
I'm pretty sure it's Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short, I think. I only really know that because my dad kind of growing up when he was younger looked like Chevy Chase, like a young Chevy Chase.
Sounds about right. Don't quote us on that.
Yes, the super fans out there are like, you don't, is that right?
You are correct. That over a little bit, just so it doesn't, well, you know what? I'm probably not gonna put anything right there. All right, so the blend tool is an amazing tool because it will perfectly place lines for you, so you don't have to sit here and try to section them all out. It does it for you. So that's another great way to kind of speed your process up. Clip that into place. All right. Let's go take a look where we're at. Oh, still have that in fix. That's white. That's okay. Bam. There. That's not too bad. I kind of just like it, that stark white. I'm gonna keep it. Having arguments with myself. I'm not sure what I want to do. I think a shadow might look good. Let's see. Let's go into that cookie mask right here.
Oh, welcome, Rob.
Robzilla. Yeah, I think a little shadow in here might do good. Let's do 8%. No, let's bring it up to 10. Let's see how that looks. Barely even notice it.
This would be really cool as a little looping animation. I would love to see that.
Right?
If I had the talent, if I had the skills to do that, I would totally take the illustration
like,
into it.
If I had the patience, this is another thing. I usually don't have the patience to fight with After Effects. That is some surreal patience I just don't have. Which I took an After Effects class. I don't know why. I just don't have the patience because it's always, I feel like I'm fighting that program.
Something you might like playing with, and I don't know, is the puppet tool, because you can kind of make like flat illustrations kind of have a little bit of movement. I feel like that could be maybe like an intro into.
Yeah, I might need to check that out. I don't know. You know how they have a more simplified Premiere?
Oh,
they have Rush.
Yeah.
I wish they had a more simplified After Effects. Because Because once you learn Rush, then you can kind of jump into Premiere and learn a bit more. I need a more simplified After Effects to where I don't hit the wrong button and it completely reconfigures my entire screen. And I'm just like, I don't know where anything's at anymore. Why? That used to happen when I was first learning Illustrator, and I would just be like, I don't know where anything's at. I'm just gonna have to shut it down and start over. Shut it down. How many times has anyone had done that? You're just starting out, you hit the wrong button, everything then jumps to something else. So you just gotta shut it down and start over. Just shut it down and start over. Close out, don't even save it, because you know as soon as you open it up, it'll put it all back together where it needs to be. I've had to do that before. It's my learning process.
Oh, Steve commented and said the puppet tool is great, and in Photoshop too. And I saw a live stream a while back where Paul Training was using the puppet tool, like puppet warp tool. I don't know if that's the official name, but it was really cool how you could make things kind of like take photographs or anything and like make it a different shape and like let the program work for you.
Yeah, I need to check it out. Like you can use anything in there, just pretty much anything.
In the puppet tool or the
in the puppet tool.
Yeah, I'm not super versed in the one in After Effects, but I did play a little bit with the one in Photoshop, just kind of with random graphics. Oh, I love the way the little suckers are looking. So cool. Rick says, I'm really enjoying Behance. Hanging with all the people in chat makes it fun, sociable experience. Thank you, everyone. Well, also, Rick, there are, live streams that happen after Adobe Live as well. And Kimmie does live streams. So be sure to follow her to get notifications of when she goes live. And I love talking to the chat when it's, you're just kind of there quietly working, and then all of a sudden someone says they're from another part of the world, and you get to kind of get some talk to people from all over. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. It really is fun. I mean, if you got to work anyway, you might as well stream it and socialize with people. That's what I enjoy about it. You feel less alone at the time where everyone's just kind of alone. This is really fun. All right, so I'm gonna do the blend again. Come in here, blend options, specified steps. Let's do 7. And I'm going to knock down that line weight. There we go. Awesome. Okay, now I'm gonna come back in here, put a little outline, and we're gonna clip it.
I love these added textures that you're adding in.
Yeah, and I'll probably go a little bit further and add a couple more like gradient textures, but we'll have to see. I don't know if I'll have time to do that today. We'll probably have to do that on separate stream. Okay, so that's pretty much where we're at right now. Not too bad. Let's see, we're out on time. Okay, yeah, we got time. I'm gonna put in some highlights or some spots on this octopus here. Yeah, I have a lot of spots drawn in. So these spots, I'm gonna want to go underneath the shadow layer. So I wanna go here. So I'm gonna go right above here. I'm gonna make it its own layer, and it's gonna hide, let's see, that's the gradient layer. I want it to be above the gradient layer, but under all the angles and shadows. So go right here. Let's do spots. Label it green. Cool deal. And I think I'm gonna do them this color. And just gonna show y'all how that works. Let's turn that off. And now you can see it's under everything.
Nice. So then you don't have to individually go make shadows on that. It's already a part of it.
It's already gonna be affected by it. Then I'm gonna put it on screen mode. That way it'll turn kind of blue. That way I'm not having to add another color necessarily. So I don't have to add a blue color, because just playing with these overlays, all of these other settings will do that for me. It'll pretty much change the color for me. Let's do 50%. Wow. Yeah, I kind of like that. So that works for me. So I don't want to outline on that. Gotta watch that. I'll probably just make it into a clipping mask right here, so I don't have to fight with lining it up.
The spots add so much like extra character. It's not that it needed it, but there's just something about it that just adds a little bit more oomph. It's super cute.
Yeah, it just helps give him a little bit more of a story. And I'm not a real character designer or anything, but when I do create characters, I kind of think about like, what's his story? What helps make him him? Let's see. All right. And then let's see, we were doing 50%. Let's do 70. So I'm still going to kind of adjust some of that shade a bit.
I was just so impressed with how much you've done in 2 days. This is amazing.
Yeah. You can go really fast, and if you do more details, it can take a little bit longer when it comes to creating stuff like this. But I do want to show y'all how to make it into a sticker. Let's see if I can do that real quick. How I would make it into a sticker for the printer, or if I wanted to do it, so many layers. I gotta sit here and turn them all off because you can't group them. Really fast, and it's so easy. Turn that off. So this layer we made down here that I said save. So this has nothing special on it. I'm gonna go Pathfinder. I'm gonna group it. That's what it's gonna look like. It looks awesome. I'm gonna go to the appearance panel where we're gonna make the least destructive edits. I'm gonna offset my path right here. Looks good. I'm gonna do round. And this is how I would set it if, let's say, I wanna cut it at home on my home Cricut or anything like that. My object, I'm going to expand the appearance. So I'm pretty much giving it a path to cut, and I don't want this to cut out. And this is pretty much what your printer is going to do as well. So now I've given it an outline. I can pop all of this back on. So I would print it out on whatever paper with the little yellow outline too. But whenever I would, let's say, hook up to my Cricut, I would pull this up. I would tell it just to cut that yellow outline. So that would keep everything encased in there. But that's pretty much how the final stages of creating a sticker would go. So that's how you would end all that. So that's why when you first get started and you do all of those flats, you want to grab them all and just kind of save it at the bottom. So when you're done, you can go in and make those edits. And the reason why you do that is because you have clipping mask in there. Those clipping masks are not going to be kind to you when it comes to expanding and offsetting those paths. The clipping mask just is not going to work. So doing it this way, it's just going to be a lot easier and kinder to you. So
that's super great advice. Oh my gosh, Kimmie, it has been so awesome to just like talk with you for these 2 days and see your work and your process. And I'm just so amazed at all the details and the way you work. It's been so much fun, like amazing. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And thank you for the moderators and chat for being so helpful. And I'd love to give y'all another opportunity to follow Kimmie here on Behance. So make sure to follow her and check out yesterday's stream if you missed it, and check out the rest of today's if you missed some of it as well.
And I'll finish this up probably tomorrow morning on my regular stream.
Kimmie, I hope you have an amazing day. Everyone out there.
You too. Thank you so much.
Do you have anything you want to leave us with, or?
Follow me on Instagram if you want to keep up with progress work and seeing everything, what I do.
Awesome. Follow Kimmie.
I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.